Welcome back. This is Good Morning Namibia. Now, many cultural entrepreneurs in Namibia struggle to commercialize their work, protect their intellectual property, and build resilient cultural enterprises due to multiple factors. The Directorate of National Heritage and Culture Program, through the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture, is currently hosting the Cultural Entrepreneurship Capacity Building Session in Swakopmund in the Ngondo region. This entrepreneurship session seeks to respond to these challenges by equipping Namibian cultural practitioners with practical entrepreneurial skills, access to networks, and exposure to new business models that will serve as a platform for capacity development, innovation, as well as community development. Joining us with more on this, Deputy Director at the Directorate of National Heritage and Cultural Programs, Mr. Boyson Ngondo. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning, sir, and thank you for having me.
Please talk to us about this capacity building session as far as cultural entrepreneurship is concerned. What is it all about, Mr. Ngondo?
Yes, just maybe to give a bit of context, this really is identified, cultural entrepreneurship was identified as a game changer in the sector for culture as far as the National Development Plan 6 and the P6 is concerned. So the session is basically a strategic initiative aimed at equipping Namibian cultural practitioners, especially the emerging and mid-career entrepreneurs, with practical business skills, tools for innovation, and access to networks that can help their creative work into sustainable enterprises. And I think what makes this session particularly significant right now is the unique moment Namibia finds itself in. We are a nation rich with cultural heritage and artistic expressions, but this richness has not yet been translated into widespread economic opportunities. So especially for young people and grassroots creatives, many people operate informally without necessary business knowledge and access to markets, funding, and legal protection. Therefore, this conference is aimed. It's not just about training individuals, but it's about laying a groundwork for more inclusive, robust, and sustainable cultural economy in Namibia, where culture is not seen just as heritage, but as also a viable development asset. So the significance of this workshop lies in its timing, its focus on empowerment and sustainability, and its vision of transforming culture into a livelihood. So that is the genesis of this particular session that we have in Swakopmund tomorrow, 17th July 2025.
Thank you for that critically important context, Mr. Ngondo. Help us understand why do so many cultural entrepreneurs in Namibia especially struggle to commercialize their work and protect their intellectual property?
Yes, I think firstly, there is limited access to business training and entrepreneurial education. So most creatives are self-taught and focus on artistic side of their work, but lack the skills needed to price their products, for example, to market themselves, to develop business models, or pitch to investors to get investments towards their ideas. So this makes it very difficult to turn creative work into profitable interventions or enterprises. And secondly, I think there's also general lack of awareness in terms of intellectual property rights, which is very low. The artists, the cultural practitioners are not necessarily informed about how to legally protect their work through copyright, trademarks, design rights, and so forth. And without that protection, I think we will all appreciate that they are very vulnerable to imitation, exploitation, and the misuse, both locally and internationally. So the part of the workshop also is to respond to these issues. And I think another key factor is the informal nature of the cultural sector. Many of our entrepreneurs operate outside the formal economy, meaning that they are not registered, they do not have access to legal and financial inputs. They also do not have the general institutional support. So that makes it harder for them to access funding, apply for grants, protect their work through intellectual property. So that's why we also in this workshop partnering with BIPA to ensure that our entrepreneurs are introduced to the concepts of intellectual property issues, but also maybe lack of access to market, both locally and internationally, and as I said, this institutional support. So generally, cultural entrepreneurs in Namibia struggle because they are often under-resourced, under-informed, under-supported, and strengthening this entrepreneurship training and legal awareness is especially for rural and young-led creative spaces can help bridge these gaps.
Now, to address some of those vulnerabilities, to address the potential exploitation, some say that a support system and a very strong entrepreneurial foundation are critically important. Speak to us about the importance of those components, namely a strong entrepreneurial foundation and a support system.
Yes, I think a support system and a very rooted, strong entrepreneurial foundation are absolutely essential for cultural entrepreneurship because they provide the structure, the tools, and opportunities that creatives need to succeed and grow in a sustainable way. So that can be achieved through turning creativity into livelihoods, protection of creative work, access to resources and opportunities where we explore funding, markets, and exposure to our creators. But of course, also to make their businesses more resilient. I think we have seen with COVID-19 that a lot of our business really suffered. So we need to have adaptability mechanisms in place so that if the economic landscape or the fiscal landscape changes, our businesses are able to withstand that and continue to grow. So in summary, I think a strong foundation and a support system to turn creativity into opportunity, they give cultural entrepreneurs the confidence, the knowledge, and the networks, I think more importantly, to build businesses that preserve culture while also creating impact and outcome, and mainly in terms of employment creation, contribution to GDP, and income for their households.
Ngondo, allow me to take one slight step back at this juncture. Some tune in at the moment may be wondering, what on earth is a cultural entrepreneur? What would be typical examples of those practicing the trade called cultural entrepreneurship?
Yes, I think some of the businesses, for example, now in this conference, we have some of our well-established cultural entrepreneurs. We will have some speakers from Khama, traditional restaurant, for example, that focuses on traditional cuisine and gastronomy, but also at the premises also having cultural experiences that visitors to their sites would then be exposed to. We have tour operators. We have also a tour operator in the cultural tourism space that will be talking to our entrepreneurs tomorrow in sharing their experiences, their best practices, their challenges, and how they were able to mitigate some of these challenges. I think just to inspire and also motivate those that will be at the attendance and other spaces like the harnessing of digital technology within the cultural space in terms of penetrating the global markets to sell products online or to have virtual reality packages and offers that can be shared with a global audience, but of course, in return, they generate revenue and foreign direct investment. So those are some of the spaces, but I think our niche as far as the promotion of cultural entrepreneurship is mainly through cultural tourism, and we want to combine the two themes so that with the business principles, our cultural practitioners are able to then have access to other markets apart from the local market and thereby enhancing their revenue streams.
You're speaking about the penetration of a global market. We do know that on the 30th of June, Namibia was able to ship off its very first consignment under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Is that also an option that you will help cultural entrepreneurs explore in order to get their goods into the African market?
Yes, I think generally also within the South-South cooperation in terms of trade and also the SADC free trade protocols and of course also other tools that exist within the continent. of course through the African Union, but other regional blocs. I think we have an opportunity to strengthen the movement, the import and export of cultural goods and resources within the SADC bloc, but also generally within the African continent. And that is our key priority. So we will, I think, first prioritize movement within the country, movement within the SADC and then Africa before we go to the global north, so that we have, I think also looking at our population, we do not have the capacity in terms of the enterprises. So we need to tap into the populations of our neighboring countries, but also other countries in the African continent, so that we use that as an offer that we want to offer to the global market, to say we have this conglomeration of resources and goods, cultural goods within the continent that we can then market and try to penetrate through that the global market. So that remains a priority in terms of our South-South trade.
Very well. Any final thoughts, Mr. Ngondo, before we let you go?
Can you repeat that?
Do you have any final thoughts this morning for us and our viewers?
Yes. I think first just to indicate that the session is taking place tomorrow at the multi-purpose hall in Tamareskia, Swakopmund from 8 to 7. Of course, we have chosen Swakopmund because of its vibrant cultural atmosphere and its high tourism potential. So we have speakers from financial institutions. We have established entrepreneurs that we want to ensure that they engage with our upcoming entrepreneurs. So the session is more than an event. It's a step towards recognizing, supporting, and investing in Namibia's creative potential. And our culture, as I said, is not just about the past. It's a powerful driver of innovation, identity, and inclusive economic growth. So with that, really, I want to invite everybody who is interested, and we look forward to ideas, brilliant ideas, the energy, collaborations that will emerge from this gathering, and we hope that this will help in building a future where cultural entrepreneurship strives across Namibia. So I hope to see all Namibians interested who are able to make it, so that we can share this experience with us. And this is just a start. There will be more interventions in order to help to enhance this concept of cultural entrepreneurship.
So much for your time, sir. Thank you for those insights, and may the session tomorrow be a resounding success.
Thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company.
There you have it. The Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture will be hosting a cultural entrepreneurship capacity building workshop in the town of Swakopmund in the Irongo region tomorrow.